Hey everybody, it's Audrey. Welcome to day 13 of the Summer Scrapping Series. We're winding down the week here, the second week of the series. Today my guest is TinaGale, and TinaGale was on the My Scraps and More design team with me years and years ago, and I'm very excited that she could join us today. She joined us last year too. So go check out her video below and her page. So I was inspired by two things for this page today. A cut file, which I'll show you here in a few minutes, and kind of the movement in my photo. So I am actually creating a background of color that's going to go underneath my cut file. So I'm going back to my Distress Oxide sprays, just spraying a piece of marshmallow cardstock, and I'm just kind of letting it drip and pool, and I let it dry. And then I'm going back through with some water and spritzing it to kind of remove some of the color. And then finally going over it with some Heidi Swap Color Shine, because I love the way the Color Shine dries on top of the Distress Oxide inks. It gives it kind of some shimmery spots. So this is a cut file from the Cut Shop, Ashley Horton's store, and it is called the Bullseye file. And I just thought it had a lot of great movement in it, and it's very intricate. I don't know why I cut a whole 12 by 12 piece because I'm not using the whole thing, but I wasn't exactly sure how much of it I was going to need. It did not completely cut through some of the corners, so I did have to go through and do a lot of piece removal here. I was showing you there my photo and how well the colors of the background that I made match the colors of my photo. It was actually, I really couldn't believe how close the colors were. So the background I was very happy with. So I am taking another piece of white cardstock, and I'm kind of drawing some like ray shapes. And I said I was inspired by my photo, the movement in my photo. I love the way that if you ride in a boat ever and you're going pretty fast, the way that the wake looks in the background of the boat, and you kind of have this like V shaped of the waves and the wake. So my kids were tubing here in this photo, obviously. So I'm trying to kind of mimic that V shape, and I want the focus to kind of V into the photo, so make the V shape into the photo. So my my layout here is my blue piece of paper that I sprayed, and that's going underneath the background, and that's why I only sprayed the right side of the page, that blue cardstock, or the blue mists, because I knew the left side would be covered up. And then I put the cut file on top, which you can see there, and then I cut kind of that ray shape from the top white cardstock. So I actually have 3 layers of paper there. And now I'm going to just kind of embellish. So I decided to make it really simple today, and I am going to limit myself to one collection. This is a Simple Stories collection. I think it's just called Summertime. I actually don't remember the name of it. If you slow down my video, you'll probably see it in one of the barcodes or something. So I'm just going to kind of limit myself to this today. I love this collection. I love the colors. I love the phrases, and I wanted to use it. So I seem to scrap so much faster when I just stick to the collection. I definitely wanted some contrast with the blue, so I'm going to add some yellow rays in there too. And I noticed I had the washi tape that has a lot of the colors and some of the patterns, so I'm going to throw some of that on there. I wasn't intending for this to be a super colorful page, but it actually ends up being pretty colorful with some of the embellishments and stuff that I add. I cut out the word splash zone there from one of the 3x4 cards, and I was going to actually title this page something else, but actually I thought that phrase was perfect, and my kids would really like that too. So I'm sure that's what they're going to start calling it now, is the splash zone. My favorite thing about this collection are these titles that have like summery shapes, like there's watermelon in some of the letters and strawberries. So I just love those words in this collection. So I'm going to choose the word fun. I almost chose the word chill, but I liked the distribution of colors in this word better. And I'm going to put a few flowers. I'm not a really flowery person. I don't use a lot of flowers on my pages a lot. But I just love the colors in this one and thought they were pretty, so I'm going to stick them on there. I added a little pair of flip-flops to the right. We'll scatter a couple other flowers. I often, I don't usually like to overlap a lot of things on my photos, so I tend to usually only overlap an element on one edge of my photo. But in this case, I had so much white space in my photo, and the focus, was kind of in the center. I actually felt that like putting the things on every side of the photo helped even draw your eye in even more. I'm going to go through some of these phrase stickers. I'll add some of those. And then this is where I feel like I need to add a little bit more color. So I wanted to take a rainbow strip. Yes, I have the whole sheet of pattern paper with these stripes on them, but I didn't want to cut up the whole sheet in case I want to use it for something else. So I'm looking for the little rainbow bits and other pieces. So I just cut it off the edge of one of the 4x6 cards. And I'm just going to play around with where to put those. I think I'm going to stick them here. I notice when I put them on, or in the final page, they're a little crooked, but whatever, it's fine. So I'm at my photo. I wanted to use this piece of paper. I also want to use this piece of paper, I imagine, as a background at some point. I like using patterns like this that I can go over with some gesso and then add some color to. So that's why I cut my square out of the center of the paper, because I can put something over it. If I could just cut it out of the corner of the paper, I would think I would have a hard time using it as a background piece. So I'm going to cut my square out of the middle and then go over it with something else when I use that piece of paper again. So I'll just rough up the edges here. And this came together really fast. I mean, really, these are all the elements I have. Nothing's glued down, but I just have to go back and glue everything down. So I'm going to straighten out this little piece here. It was a little crooked. And I am pretty satisfied with that. So I'm going to go back through and start gluing some stuff down here. I'm going to start with these rainbow strips. I decided not to make them perfectly flush with the edge of the blue. I'm going to offset them a little bit, but you can see what I mean when I say that they're a little bit crooked, but it's really not that noticeable in the final page. My washi tape here, instead of overlapping the washi tape, I am just going to trim it so that the shapes do not overlap each other, so you can see each piece clearly. Trim those edges off. Okay, now I got to get this cut file glued to the background, and I was like, I am not going to work with liquid glue on every single little circle here. So I'm using, this is a sheet of adhesive. It's like adhesive dots. So if you had like a tape runner that has dots on it, this is a whole sheet of that, and it's made by ThermoWeb, iCraft. I think it's just called Sticky Dots Sheets. It's great for intricate cut files and large cut files like this, so you don't have to glue the whole thing. It is a little tricky to get off, especially with a delicate file like this that has a lot of thin pieces, so it does take a little while, but it's very easy to put back on, and it just sticks right down. So I'm just going through carefully. You notice I have not removed all the little white bits because that top layer of cardstock goes right over some of those, but I love this cut file. It's really pretty, and I'm really glad that I used it like this. Okay, what else? Some stitching I added to kind of shadow some of these lines here. I definitely needed some more mist on here because that blue background was really pretty, but the cut file does cover up a lot of the details and some of the swirls and colors. So I'm going to go back with a few sprays here, and now I am just going to glue everything back on and layer it up and pop it up with some craft foam and some foam dots. So we got a brand new tube last year, and the years previous we have been tubing before, but not on our own tube. And my son was actually very scared of it. He did not like it at all. But last year when we got our own tube, he tried again, and of course he fell in love with it. So they were being daredevils and telling us to go faster, and they were trying to do these tricks, and so being quite silly. But they love it, so it's fun. A fun summertime activity. I'm going to pop just a couple, actually not pop, but just layer a couple flowers kind of scattered here along the edges, on the top and the bottom. And I think that does it. I add my journaling and the date, and that's it. Pretty quick and simple page. So there's the final product. I love the colors. Again, I just love this cut file. I want to do something else with it too. Maybe with my scraps that I cut off, I can use those in another project. Just a few details here, some of the elements I added, and some of the stitching, and those fun colors and embellishments. So thank you for joining me today for day 13. I will have one more video coming up very soon for the second week, and then I will be back again in August for week number 3. Be sure to stop by TinaGale's page and see her page today on her channel, and thanks so much for stopping by. Stay scrappy, friends.